All right. Hi, Amber.
Good morning and welcome to Oregon Zoo Live. My name is Amber and I'm a keeper here at the Oregon Zoo. And we are coming to you from the Penguinarium where we are going to be meeting CT. She is the newest addition to our penguin colony and she was just born on March 23rd. So like I said, we are here and we are very, very thankful to have you all and your support. We know it's really hard right now that you can't be here with us, but we appreciate you connecting with us still via our lives.
So Amber, what kind of a penguin is CT?
CT is a Humboldt penguin. So we have Humboldt penguins here. They're the only species of penguin that we have. But we do have two other species of bird in the penguinarium. We've got our gray gull. We have 7 of them, and then we have 17 Inca terns. So you might see them up there. The Inca terns are the funny little guys with the white mustaches and the red beaks. And then this little lady over here, that is Whoopi Goldberg. She is one of our gray gulls, and she just hatched out last year. So she's going to be having her first birthday coming up in July, I believe.
So Teddy is asking, how fast can penguins run?
Teddy, that's a great question. So they don't run super fast. As you can see, they waddle. So they're not the best at locomotion on land. I am not exactly sure how fast they can run, but they can swim up to 30 miles an hour. So they're more adapted to going fast in the water to catch their prey.
Cam is asking how much CT weighs.
CT, I actually don't know her most current weight, but I can get that answer to you from her regular keeper, Tracy. So she does get weighed currently, and I'll have to look that up for you.
And so for the folks just tuning in, how old is CT?
CT is 65 days old, so she was born on March 23rd.
So what's the difference between a juvenile penguin like this and an adult?
So for CT, she's grown up pretty fast, so you may be surprised that she doesn't look like that gray little floof that you saw just a couple of weeks ago. But she's pretty much looked like the other penguins, except for she does not have the little stripe across her chest yet. She won't get that until she goes through her first molt, and what molt is when they lose their feathers. So maybe in a year or so, she'll lose her feathers, and that's when she'll gain her adult plumage, which has that spot or the stripe across her chest.
So Beckett and Lucas are asking, why are penguins the colors that they are? Why are they black and white?
Beckett and Lucas, so they are the colors that they are because it helps them survive in the wild. So the black and white color actually serves two purposes. The black color, when they dive deep into the water to catch their fish, they go down under, and so they blend in from a predator looking down at them. They look like the depths of the water, the darkness. And then when they're floating on the top and a predator's underneath them, they blend in with the sunlight that comes down onto the ocean. So they're harder to see from predators. It keeps them safe.
Vanson is asking, what do penguins eat?
Vanson, penguins eat a variety of things. So they spend about 60% of their time in the ocean. So they mostly eat fish, but they do eat other types of seafood. So these guys out in the wild will mostly eat small schooling fish like anchovies and sardines, but they also eat squid, krill, shrimp, and pretty much anything that they can find out there they'll try to eat. And if they like it, they'll eat it. If they don't, they don't.
Sarah and Mandy are asking about penguin lifespan. How long do Humboldt penguins live?
They live about, in the wild, so it depends. So in the wild, they live 12 to 15 years or so. But here in human care, we give them the best care possible. They get visits to the vet. If they get sick, they get food every single day, and they don't have to worry about predators. So they can live 20 to 30 years here with us. And our oldest penguin, Mochika, is actually going to be turning 30 this year on July 6th. So make sure to wish him a happy birthday on July 6th.
So Bear and Titan are asking, are CT's feathers water repellent yet at this age?
Yes, so she has actually started to swim. Oh, hi, she's grooming you. She has actually started some swimming sessions, and penguins have a preen gland at the base of their tail, and it releases an oil that they spread using their beak to all of their feathers, and it helps them to stay waterproof, warm, and dry.
Lily's asking if she's soft.
She is very, very soft. So yeah, most people that when they actually touch a penguin for the first time are very, very surprised at how soft they are. So to me, she feels especially soft. I think it's because she's still so young. But she was even softer when she still had her downy feathers.
Ellie and Emery are wanting to know, is her beak sharp?
Yes, her beak is already very sharp. Penguins have very, very sharp, the sides of their beak are very sharp to cut into things. So if she were to bite me, it would hurt. They also have a little point to their beak, and she's being very gentle right now, so that doesn't hurt. But I am going to try to feed her because she's hungry. And you can see that beak in action, and it is very sharp so that she can catch her fish and eat it. So we're going to try to feed her, and she's such a good eater. You going to show? And she's just playing with her food right now.
So for the folks tuning in, Amber, can you tell us her name again and how she has that name? It's a temporary name.
Yeah, of course. So her name, her nickname, what we call her is CT. So the letter C and the letter T. And this is because when she was still just an egg, we took CT scans of her. And so this was so that we could get an idea of how she was positioned in the egg. And it was actually very, very helpful to us because we developed parameters for how to set our machines to get appropriate scans for her. And this helps for condors specifically. If we find that condors are having some issues hatching, we can use the parameters that we determined from CT because condor eggs and penguin eggs are similar in thickness of egg and size. We can use them to determine if we need to intervene and help the egg hatch if it is having trouble.
So Willa is asking about the sounds that penguins make. Can you tell us what kind of sounds they make and why? What is it that they're communicating to each other?
Yes. So penguins make a lot of different sounds. What you might have been hearing earlier was actually our gray gulls. They're super, super loud, as well as our Inca terns. That's the sound you just heard right now. But our penguins also do make noise, and they communicate similar to us. They talk to each other. They try to find each other. They communicate if they're feeling territorial. And their sounds kind of sound like a donkey. So they're called brays. And maybe you'll hear it at some point today during this broadcast, but it does sound like a donkey, and it's very loud. The pairs will communicate to each other. They each have their own calls so they can locate each other. And then they also make that noise when they're excited. So when I come out with fish and they're hungry, they'll make that noise as well.
Isabel is asking if penguins have feathers when they hatch.
Isabella, yes. So penguins do have like very soft downy feathers, and they lose those pretty quickly. So like I said, you may be surprised to find that she doesn't have any feathers or any of those downy feathers, and that's because she started losing them at about a month. So she started getting her more permanent feathers.
And Camille is asking, how big are the eggs?
Camille, so their eggs, I actually have a dummy egg. I wish I had it for you. They're about this size, so they're really small. And that's about the same size that the penguins are when they hatch. So they are very tightly coiled into the egg. So their head is nice and tucked in. And so when they hatch, they're about this size. They're really small.
So Tanya is asking, can penguins swim fast?
Yes. Penguins can swim extremely fast, so they can reach speeds up to 30 miles an hour. And here at the zoo, we have a circular pool, so they're able to run laps. When you come visit us, once we're open again, you might be able to see our penguins doing laps around the pool. And they also do something like dolphins. They jump out of the water, and so it's really fun. They have a lot of fun, and yes, they can reach speeds up to 30 miles.
So Derek is asking, how much does CT eat at this age?
Derek, CT is actually a very hungry penguin at this age. She's a great eater. Per day, she eats somewhere between 600 and 700 grams per day. So we feed her about 4 times a day, and we feed her as much as she wants. Penguins are really good at regulating their food consumption, so they don't really overeat. She'll let us know when she's hungry, but we do offer at 4 different times of the day. And then if we hear her making begging noises, she'll make little noises when she's hungry. We offer her more food.
So Dee is asking, where does the species live?
This species lives on the coasts of Peru and Chile. Same with our Inca terns and our gray gulls. They are all native to those regions. And Humboldts are actually named Humboldt penguins after the Humboldt Current, which goes north from Antarctica all the way up to South America.
So, Amber, how are Humboldt penguins doing in the wild? What are some of the threats that they face?
Sure. So Humboldt penguins are actually classified as vulnerable. So they're not endangered, but they're not doing great either. Their populations are in decline. There's about 16,000 breeding pairs left in the wild. And some of their biggest threats are overfishing. So like I said, they eat a lot of fish. That's pretty much their main diet. But people eat fish too. And so we've got to be really careful about how much fish we eat and what kinds of fish we eat. An app that can help you is Seafood Watch. That app will let you know what kinds of fish are better to eat and which ones we might want to leave and not eat so that the animals like penguins can eat them. Another big threat is guano. So that's not a threat, but the use of guano as fertilizer can be detrimental for them. So guano is actually a very, very good fertilizer, and if you didn't know, guano is actually poop, but penguins use it to make their nests out of. It helps protect their eggs from predators because it's so stinky, and people are using it too much, and it disrupts their breeding time, and so that can be a danger. But we are doing a lot of good work, and there are restrictions on how much guano can be used, so that's always a positive thing.
So Tia's asking, for Humboldt penguins, what temperature do they live in, and actually, how warm is it in here in the penguinarium?
Yeah, so yes, these guys are actually temperate penguins. So they do not live out in the cold. So there's actually about 18 species of penguins, and out of those 18, there's only about 8 that live in Antarctica or around Antarctica. So those are the ones that live in the coldest temperatures. Here, these guys live in temperate climates, so they're used to kind of the weather that we have here in Oregon. So it's about 70 degrees here. So don't let my sweater fool you. I always pretty much wear a sweater. I'm always cold. But it's about 70 degrees in here, so it's nice and warm for them. And their pool is about 62 degrees, so it's also nice and warm. These guys like it that way. If it gets too cold, they would not be comfortable.
So Abby has a good question. How do you tell the difference between a boy and a girl penguin?
That is a great question, Abby. So you actually cannot. So in general, females are a little bit smaller than the males, but that is not a case every single time. So one of our penguins, our oldest, Mochica, he's actually a very small penguin. So if you looked at him next to the others, you might think he's a girl, but he's actually a boy. So in terms of size, females are just in general smaller. But when you just look at them, they look exactly the same. And they each have little speckles that are unique to them. But the only way that you can tell if a penguin's a female or a male is by taking a blood test and sending it off to a lab. So for CT, we grabbed some blood from her eggshell when she hatched. We sent it out and we found out she was a girl.
So Amy is asking about water and wants to see how CT does in the water. Can we take a look at that?
Yes, we can. So CT loves the water, and she spends a lot of her time learning how to swim, so she's building up her muscles. We're gonna go ahead and pull up this barrier here because she has a baby pool that she's learning how to swim in, and she will show you how she likes to swim. Oh, it's okay, lady. You want to go to your pool? All right. Let's watch her go. Oh, shoot. Let's see. Put her food over here. CT, do you want to go for a swim? What do you think?
So what's this little area that she has here?
This is her baby pool. So we haven't let her go out into the big exhibit yet because it's so big, and we're worried that she will get tired from swimming so much, and she doesn't quite know the exhibit yet. But she practices swimming here, and she's building up her muscles and her strength so that once we do introduce her into the exhibit with the other penguins, she'll be nice and strong in order to swim out there.
Well, thanks, Amber, so much for hanging out with us in CT this morning.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, we really appreciate your support. And so thanks for joining us at Facebook Live, and we hope to see you here soon.
All right, bye-bye.